Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for attending. My name is John Sagana. I'm one of the directors of project development at NGen Canada, and thank you very much for attending this session. We're here to talk about and introduce our newest funding program, which is called Moonshot for Mining, Minerals, and Manufacturing, so M4M3 as an acronym. The presentation will be in English, so if you wish to ask any questions in French, please do so, and we'll be happy to reply in the language of your choice. Donc, bonjour tout le monde, mon nom est John Sigana, je suis directeur de développement de projet chez NGen. On est ici pour vous présenter un nouveau programme qui s'appelle Percée vers la Lune, mines, minéraux et manufacturiers. Donc, la présentation sera en français. Si vous souhaitez discuter du programme de financement en français, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter et il va me faire plaisir de planifier une rencontre spécifiquement avec vous pour en discuter. So in terms of an agenda, I expect to present for about 20 to 25 minutes, just the program requirements and all those things. And that should leave plenty of time at the end for any questions that you might have concerning the program. And this webinar is actually being recorded, so it will be made available to anyone that couldn't make it at the event itself, probably later on today or tomorrow. So a few words about NGen for those of you that might not be familiar with NGen Canada. So we are a non-for-profit, industry-led corporation that actually leads the Advanced Manufacturing Global Innovation Cluster. And it was founded in 2017, and we've got a number of mandates in advanced manufacturing capabilities in Canada. So promoting Canadian capabilities, making connections, funding collaborative innovation. So that's one of the purposes of today's webinar, building workforce and capacity management, and looking into manufacturing footprint and bringing it to the 21st century. And if you want to know more about NGen and its history and what we do, by all means, please visit the website, at www.ngen.ca. Specifically, Moonshot for mining, minerals, and manufacturing, a lot of opportunities for, this is moving by itself. So lunar and earth science and technology within this program. Very happy to be working with Canadian Space Agency on this program. So more specifically, Moonshot for mining, minerals, and manufacturing. Specifically, the program will support development of novel In-Situ Resource Utilization, so ISRU as an acronym, solutions for mining, mineral processing, and advanced manufacturing for both the lunar and the earth environment. By all means, I'm mentioning that this initiative is undertaken with the financial support of the Canadian Space Agency, following an announcement of opportunity. And again, at the center of this new space activity is ISRU. So for those that are not familiar with it, so it's basically the practice of manufacturing products with local materials rather than relying on materials being shipped from Earth. As we speak, Kim will probably put in the chat a report in French and English that was written on ISRU and gives you a lot of background on what is ISRU and how it relates to this program. So you probably will be seeing something in the chat as we speak. The other element that I wanted to bring to your attention is our website. That's where a lot of the documentation, you'll see the reports, you'll see press releases, you'll see guidance, and various templates for the program. So please bookmark that website. So www.ngen.ca/moonshot. Same thing, Kim will be adding the website to the chat, so you've got it handy. The documentation should be your best friend in the next month or so as we're developing the program together. And another screenshot, again, that's where you're going to find the application guides, financial guides, various documentation, reports. You've got some videos also on how to create a project, how to enter your finance information, IP. So a lot of information in that website for you to dig into. So the program guide, oh yes, and this is probably when Kim will be adding the program guide, both in French and English, to the chat session. So the program itself, so it's a $5 million program, and the objective of the program is really to promote innovations that have dual use applications. So like I said, applications on Earth and application on the Moon. And the objective is to strengthen Canada's leadership in the space sector, but also bring competitiveness to the most important industrial sectors of Canada in terms of mining, energy, and advanced manufacturing sectors. Like all NGen projects, regardless of the funding stream, all projects need to meet the 5 key pillars or criteria for NGen projects, and these are detailed in this slide. We're looking for, first of all, process innovation. So again, as we mentioned, the funding program in this call for project is around mining, mineral processing, or advanced manufacturing, and must be dual purpose, Earth and Moon applications. And obviously a focus on anything that's advanced manufacturing or transformative in terms of production processes is something that we will favor. It's not a product development funding program, so it's really less about the product and more about the process innovation. We're looking for projects that are transformative in nature, so that are really confer a significant advantages that are really different and bring added value to the Canadian manufacturing industry. We're looking for projects that are collaborative in nature. So it's a collaboration with a minimum of 2 Canadian industrial partners, and of which at least 1 SME. So our definition of SME is less than 500 employees globally. So we definitely need, and I'll touch more on the collaborative aspect in a second. Solution focused. So we're looking for projects and technologies that generate commercial, so short to medium path to commercialization, and have economic benefits that include jobs created and maintained. So we're closer to commercialization than we are to the lab, essentially. And enduring, so we're looking for projects that bring a broader benefit to Canadian space industry and the advanced manufacturing ecosystem in Canada. So these are the kind of the 5 pillars that any projects within this funding program will need to be hitting as we develop it. 2 words about what is out of scope. So we've described what is considered in scope, what is out of scope. So obviously, as we're looking for consortia, we can't fund any projects that have a single firm or a single organization. We're looking for projects, we're not looking for projects that are entirely focused on either mining, mineral processing, or advanced manufacturing only on Earth with no possible application to lunar ISRU. And by the same token, we're not looking for projects that are entirely focused on space and lunar ISRU with no possible application or interaction with Earth. If you think of 2 Venn diagrams, we're really looking for the intersection between Earth and the Moon, and those applications, those projects that have dual purpose, dual use between the two domains, if you will. We're not looking, so projects that are enabling ISRU, but not directly linked to mining, mineral processing, or advanced manufacturing would be out of scope for this call for project. As we said, anything that is only product development or the design of the product itself is out of scope. Any small changes, routine changes to existing products or product lines is probably out of scope for this call for project. Anything that's still experimental or in the lab or theoretical is too soon for this call for proposal. We don't subsidize full-scale production, so that's something that it would be considered out of scope for this project. Something that would be undertaken at the same scale or scope without M4M3 funding would be out of scope. Capital investment need to be related to the project, and any activities that would be viewed as anti-competition would be out of scope for this call for proposal. This being said, so who's eligible to apply? So some of the eligibility rules. So you need to be an NGen member to apply. The good news is membership is absolutely free. You can join at www.ngen.ca/join. It should take you about 10 minutes to go through the process of registering. So do reach out if there's any question about that. Secondly, you need to be a registered business in Canada and have an added value presence in Canada. So not just a sales office, but a presence. And that's essentially it. So the recipients must be either for-profit, non-for-profit, but with majority of the funding from private sector, non-federal crown corporations, or Indigenous organizations. So those are the categories that are eligible for applying for this funding. And speaking of the consortium itself, so the consortium, we're looking for at least 2 unassociated Canadian industry partners, so a lead and a partner. Unassociated means there cannot be any links between the two. One cannot be a subsidiary. Terms and requirements for the call for proposal. So as we said, so who's eligible? We spoke about those. There's 2 streams that are anticipated for the call for proposal. So stream 1 are project values between 250,000 and 500,000 in value, total project value. And stream 2, $2.2 to $2.6 million in project value. The reimbursement rate for this call for proposal is 50%. As we might have mentioned, but if not, I'll mention it now. We work on a reimbursement model. So the consortia, the companies are making their expenses, making their project advance and expending costs, and NGen will reimburse those costs as the project progresses. So 50% of costs will be reimbursed by NGen, and those project costs that are eligible: labor from the consortia, from the companies working in the project, subcontracting up to 40% of total project value will be included, eligible. Capital and equipment, so up to 30% of total project value. Materials, supplies, travel, IP are all costs that are acceptable and eligible for the project. There is also a rule just to make sure that there is a collaboration between the partners. Any one partner can't receive more than 80% of NGen funding. So obviously can be less than that, but to a maximum, it can be 80% of funding. Duration, I want to just stress the duration. So the projects can only run until March 31st, 2025. So that leaves about a 1-year, 12-month duration for the projects that are going to be proposed within this call for proposal. So do think of that as you're developing the scope for the projects with your partners. This is not a 5-year program, so it needs to be, the scope needs to be focused enough that we can achieve it within the time frame of the 1 year essentially duration. And there's no stacking limit, so please also, if that's another benefit, I guess, from your perspective, if you find other type of funding, we're very happy to see that appear on the projects, and we're not going to lower our fundings if you've got other types of funding also associated with this project. Quick reminder on the dates themselves. So we launched the program about a little more than a month ago, November 7th. We're in full swing of project development. We're expecting expression of interest on January 11, 2024, so in about a month from now. We will do financial due diligence. So we're expecting documents by January 16th, and I'll touch on that in a slide in a minute. And final applications are due January 18th, 2024. And same thing, I'll touch on what's required for the final application in a second. We will be running, so that's the first round of application. In the case that we can't, we don't have either sufficient quality or sufficient number of projects, we will be running a second round of applications with due dates in February, just a month later, so February 15th for expression of interest, financial due diligence on the 16th, and final applications on February 22nd, 2024. But our objective is really to do as much as possible to do all the projects within the first round of application in early January, so that projects can be launched as soon as possible and get as much time as possible for doing the execution before March 2025. Quick steps on how to, what's the process application. So first step is becoming an NGen member. Like I said, that's relatively quick and easy. Logging into your portal and start the application within the Salesforce application. Screening, so we'll touch on that in a second, what is expected for project screening. The financial due diligence aspect will be looked at between screening and application. So the full application, like I said, for January 18th, which will then bring us to all the applications that are received will be sent off to an external panel, so third-party experts that are completely independent from NGen that will be reviewing these and assessing these and send them back to us, which will then bring us to contracting for those projects that are agreed upon, and then the projects can begin. In terms of screening, so what's required in terms of the screening process, a description of the project, so 1,000 words maximum for the proposal itself. We'll need contact info for each of the partners that are involved, so at least one lead contact and one finance contact per partner. An application agreement, so basically that's a non-disclosure by all partners, signed and sent to us, so actually uploaded to the Salesforce platform. That document is already on the website, so please go look at it if you want to get acquainted with the document. We'll need a high-level financial proposal, so a breakdown of what the project looks like and cash contribution and what you're looking from in terms of funding from NGen. The SME declaration form also on our website, and that's where the financial due diligence also takes place. So there will be some conversations with our finance folks talking about the partners' financial aspects, so cash flow, profitability, all those elements that our financial folks will be looking at. We highly encourage folks and applicants to submit this screening phase as early as possible, just to make sure that you're working on something that is in scope and is aligned with the program, and also gives you more time. As soon as this step is crossed, you can have access to the full application and can work on that to give you as much time as possible to submit the full proposal. So for the full application, so what we're looking for is there's going to be 8 questions. Those questions, by the way, are in the application guide, so there's no surprises. You know what those questions are already. So if you scroll through the application guide, you'll see the 8 questions. Stream 1, we're looking for answers that would be 4,000 characters or less. And stream 2, we're looking for answers that are 7,000 characters or less per question. We're going to be looking for a project plan in the form of a Gantt chart, a risk register, and some IP tables, so intellectual property tables, and a financial workbook, one per partner, again, to be enter directly into the Salesforce platform. So same thing, as early as possible. If you can submit your project screening early, you can start this process as early as possible, and so you can write up basically a better proposal for the reviewers to analyze. So that's the quick overview of what the program looks like. I just wanted to take a few seconds before closing the conversation about saying a few words about other funding opportunities. So we've closed two programs earlier this year. So General Advanced Manufacturing and Electric Vehicle Manufacturing program just closed earlier this year. We've got two programs running right now. So commercialization of quantum technologies. We closed the first round a couple of weeks ago, and there is a second round going on in January 24th is the closing for that one. And we've got the Moonshot for mining, minerals, and manufacturing that's ongoing with the dates that we described a bit earlier. And we're looking for something in 2024 to be, dates and details to be announced later on. Greener manufacturing that's the working title for the time being, but we'll see in due course when we have a bit more detail to announce on that one. And all of this gets done with obviously the help of a lot of folks. So I'll ask the folks, the project development team, all my colleagues that are online, to open their cameras. So Arthur, Kong, Roshan, Stephanie, I think I saw Akash, Blake, and William just joined us earlier this week. So don't hesitate to reach out to any of us, specifically on this program, but more generally. So Stephanie leads the one on quantum, so don't hesitate to reach out to Stephanie if there's a question on that one. So don't, as you're going through the process development, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us regarding this or other programs. And I would be remiss if I didn't say one word about some of the other work that NGen is doing. So this is separate, I guess, from the.
Thank you again for your attention during this presentation. Again, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us through email, m4m@ngen.ca. Our website contains all the official guides, the resource templates to help you through applications.
Sorry about that. I think I got to a slide that was pre-recorded, and that was not the intent to present something that was pre-recorded. So I had a slide there on Future Ready, which is a workforce development program that is separate from our funding, project funding. So don't hesitate. You'll have the information in the slide deck once it gets shared, but don't hesitate to reach out if there's any question about Future Ready and TLP program and AMP Up. We'll make sure to get you in contact with the right folks at NGen. And with that, I think that kind of completes the webinar. Any general inquiries, the website, so m4m@ngen.ca. And our website is there, again, with all official guides, resource templates for you to consult. So thank you for your attention. Happy to take any questions at this point. Let me just see if there's... Oh, I've got already some questions in the chat. I don't know if anyone can see those. So I'll just read from the questions that are in the chat already. So what does unassociated mean? So essentially, there's no linkage. There's no legal link between the two companies that would be applicants. One cannot be the subsidiary of another. So hopefully that answers. Please follow up if that is not clear. Another question is, will you have mining experts as part of the project evaluation process? The answer is yes. Most probably there will be mining experts We're going to have a host of assessors that range depending on the projects that come to us. But definitely, if there's a mining element to that, there will be mining experts to be able to evaluate the quality of what is being proposed to NGen. So hopefully that answers that one. So a question: in addition to recording, will the slide deck be posted, download as well? Yes, we can make that available for sure. Thank you for that question. So that will be made available. Another question: thanks for the presentation. Are expenses restricted to Canada? Yes, the expenses need to be Canadian company, and the expenses need to be restricted to Canada. You can bring external or international partners, but we wouldn't be funding those, and they would need to come with their own funding, essentially. Another question: can we be a partner and a subcontractor simultaneously? So I think the quick answer on that one is no. You can't be both the partner and a subcontractor on the same project. You can have that role in different projects, but not in the same project. Is the 40% max subcontractor cost could be extended to a higher value? I'm not sure. Could you go I'm not sure I understand the question. Could it be? I think the question is, could it go beyond 40%? Is what I understand the question to be. And I think the answer for that is no. You can do more than 40%, but I think 40% is the maximum that we can find eligible in the project itself. And what do you have in mind concerning the risk register? So we can have a bit, with myself or one of the other project directors, we can have a bit of a conversation about that. So it's essentially the program guide describes the minimum risk that we'd like to see addressed within the risk register. So it's really just an Excel file will suffice, where you list out the risks and associate, what are some of your strategies in managing those risks. Is there a mechanism or platform for academic and research institutions to connect with industry to collaborate on this? Good question. I think this event is part of those mechanisms, but is there a specific platform or institution to connect with industry partners to collaborate on this? And I'll look to my colleagues. If there's something that escapes me, by all means, do jump in. Yes, Roshan, by all means, go ahead.
We do have the collaboration corner on our website, where if companies are interested in posting opportunities, we'll be happy to do that. We can push that info through our newsletter to all our members across Canada. But also you can reach out to us as the PD directors, and we'll be happy to look for opportunities where there may be areas of collaboration.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Roshan. I forgot about that. And so, yeah, we'll make sure to have the link in the as we send out the recording and the slides. We'll make sure to link to the collaboration corner also. Yes, thank you. What about supplies and materials? Not all the supplies are found at Canada at fair cost. Oops, sorry, this is scrolling. What about supplies and materials? Not all the supplies are found in Canada at fair cost. Supplies, materials, if memory serves me correctly, can be are not bound to Canadian, so you can purchase supplies and materials from abroad. So I think that should not be an issue there, but maybe let's have further conversation if there's an issue that's associated there. Not-for-profits that leverage private money dollars with public money qualify for submitting funding if private match exceeds public sector. Will you take leverage funds as revenue from private sector if it's counted as leverage funds? So the answer to that is essentially non-for-profit. If it's more than 50% private sector funding, those are completely eligible for partnerships. If it's more than 50% public, then those would not be considered eligible for partners. Another question, if we're raising funds in Q1, can we still apply for the full project, or should we reduce project scope for a self-funded option? I would welcome, maybe instead of, so, I would welcome a conversation about the scope and what it is that you want to do. Without really having discussed further the project, it's really hard to give you a black or white type of answer. I would suggest reach out to us and let's chat about the project itself and see what can be done. And depending also on the stream that you're looking for, like the $2 million project or $500,000 project, maybe that will change also part of the conversation. So I suggest we reach out and we'll have a conversation about the project specifically. Thank you. Kim probably put the link to the collaboration corner in the chat. On the non-for-profit, are you saying the match is on the project and not the qualification for organization? Also, can the not-for-profit be primary applicant? Yes. If the non-for-profit is majority funded by industry, they can be the primary applicant for sure. Regarding non-for-profit, what does philanthropic backing count? Does philanthropic backing count as they considered a non-for-profit primarily funded publicly versus privately funding? Really good question. That has not come up in the past. I don't know the answer to that one. We'll defer to our finance folks and just make sure that it's respecting both the spirit and the letter of our program law. So I don't know the answer to that one. We'll have to circle back to you and just make sure that we're giving you the right guidance on that. Okay. I think there's Q&A. So those are the ones I see. There's more questions. So who would own the IP from the projects? So the IP from projects, that's a conversation to be had within the consortia. Obviously, the partners bring their own background IP to the project. There's developments that occur during the project itself. So any arising IP, that's a conversation to be had within the consortia, the partners of the projects. So who would own the IP? I think there's not one answer to that. I think it's an ongoing conversation between the partners. If there's some of my IP colleagues and NGen IP colleagues or some colleagues that want to chime in, by all means, please do to add more to that answer. Another question, are there opportunities for early stage small businesses to partner with large organizations? If so, is there a list of participating industry partners? So the answer is yes, of course. We're looking for partners to work together, and it could be two SMEs, but it could be a large organization and a small organization. Industry partners available. Again, the collaboration corner will be a good place to look for that, and either that or chat with any one of us to identify some industry partners to work with you. I have a project idea. How can I find a partner? So I would suggest get in touch with us, and one of the directors will certainly be in contact with you and work through the project and work with you on developing a project. Can consortium include a lead applicant and other partners who are non-financial? We will need a lead and a partner that will be financially contributing and technically working on the project. You can have non-financial partners for sure, but we will need at least an applicant and a partner that will be involved in the project, so contributing time, effort, and money into the project. But yes, you can have then other non-financial partners once those two initial partners are found. Can you please explain the role of universities? So universities can be subcontractors. So universities can be one of the two partners of the project, but they certainly can be subcontractors to one of the lead or the partner companies. So depending on the scope of work, they can, some of the work can be done by universities as subcontracting to the larger scope of work. And what are the criteria for selection for big projects versus smaller ones? Are you ranking established players versus emerging ones? Very good question. So the criteria are the same 8 questions for both the smaller projects, stream 1, stream 2. So same 8 questions. The only difference is the 4,000 characters versus 7,000 characters in terms of size of the answer that is being looked for. And are you ranking established versus emerging ones? No, we're ranking on the quality really of the proposals. So you saw the 5 pillars, if you will, for all NGen projects, and the quality of the answers and the proposals that are being sent to us. It's really that's what's driving the selection criteria. Okay, that covers the questions that were, I think, available to everyone. Let me see if there's other questions that showed up for panelists. I'm not seeing any new ones. Okay, no open questions. So, okay, very good. Oh, hold on, maybe there's a new one. So, sorry, a new one came in. So if universities act as subcontractor, can their contribution be in kind instead of financial? Typically, the subcontractor would be like a financial effort. The in-kind can occur also, but the in-kind is not, as per the program guide, the in-kind is not refundable, so there's no, it's not part of what's eligible for refunding. So my suggestion here again would be, let's have a conversation and understand what it is that you're thinking of in terms of the project, and see if that makes sense or doesn't make sense in your financial setup for the project. It's, without having the full context, it's hard to give you a cut and dry type of answer. Okay. Going on 12:45, 12:42. Is there a new question that came in? Will Canadian Space Mining Association able to apply? Is that what I'm seeing? Canadian Space Mining Association be able to apply? So anyone, any Canadian entity is able. So I'm not really familiar with Canadian Space Mining Association. And again, same thing goes with what we said about if that association is funded by industry, more than 50%. Oh, sorry. I think someone added more details. Space Mining Corporation apply. So again, if it's a Canadian entity and they are corporation, yeah, okay. So going back, if it's an association, the 50% plus 1, 50% and more public funding versus private funding that applies. If it's Canadian Space Mining Corporation is Canadian entity and meets the requirements, of course, they can apply like any other Canadian entity. If the subcontractor is developing most of the IP, would it be considered a non-contributing partner? again, I would prefer for that type of very more detailed. Let's have a conversation and discuss what is the. Let's have a discussion about what is the scope of the work and see whether or not that makes sense or not. Isn't it a conflict of interest in CS? Set the stage for framing this competition. Okay, very good question. They did participate. They did contribute to writing the ISRU report, but they are not at all involved in any of the assessment or review of the projects that get evaluated. So I want to put that question to rest. So thank you for raising it, but yeah, that they are not part at all of the evaluation or assessment that will be done by completely independent third-party experts from NGen, and they will not be part of that effort. So thank you for raising that. So we want to make sure that that is abundantly clear from the get-go. Okay, thank you for those additional questions. And thank you for raising all very, very good questions that perhaps were still unclear in either my presentation or in the program guide. So thank you for raising those. Okay. Not seeing any new questions. We'll give it 1 minute, but this was very, very good. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. We'll close the webinar in a minute. We'll make sure to get you the recording and the slides for the webinar. If there's any further questions, please reach out, m4m@ngen.ca, or just reach out to any of us. You'll have our contact info in the slide deck. And with that, thank you very much. Looking forward to a lot of continued conversation on some of the exchanges that I saw in the chat conversation. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll chat soon. Thank you.